because everybody's a guest at my table, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for checking it out. I'm your host, Kelsey. At the start of every video, I like to read a quote by Yogi T. No, it's not sponsored. I just feel like everybody needs a little inspiration in their lives. This reads, "The heart sees deeper than the eye." Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of that quote. For those wondering, I'm drinking Peach Detox today. Let's go over the ingredients for today's video. I have 2 store-bought pie crusts. I just have these on hand, so I felt like I would just use these rather than making my own. I will have future videos where I will make my own pie crust, so don't worry. I have 2 chicken breasts here that are already cooked and cut into bite-sized pieces. The reason why I have this cooked already is just I didn't want raw meat, raw chicken especially, with all the other ingredients here. But don't worry, I do include that in the cooking process. I have a 1/4 cup of water. I got a whisked egg. 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary. 1 teaspoon of oregano. 1 teaspoon of thyme. 1 teaspoon of dill. 1 teaspoon of basil. 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. 1/3 cup of chopped onion. 3 tablespoons of pre-minced garlic. I like the extra juice that it adds to the gravy. 2 cups of frozen mixed veggies. In this one, there's carrots, peas, green beans, and corn. 2 chicken bouillon cubes. And 2 cups of chicken broth. These are all the ingredients you will need for my chicken pot pie. I'll see you at the stove. To start off the chicken, for a gas range, you'll want to start on a low heat. With cast iron especially, you don't want to heat up your pan too hot too quickly, otherwise your meat will burn. My pan is almost to temperature. Here's the chicken breasts. I have them generously seasoned with garlic salt, celery salt, regular salt, and pepper. A fun way to tell if your cast iron's ready is to flick some water at it, and if it evaporates immediately, you're to the temperature you need. Say we're good to go. First and foremost, I'm going to base some olive oil on here. I don't trim the fat on my chicken just because I save that for my dogs. Feel free to do so if you don't like the fat. I just lift the edges of the chicken a little bit so it doesn't get stuck on there when we're ready to flip it. It should slide easily like that. I like to cover the chicken with the lid to lock in all the moisture. I'm going to let that rest for a couple of minutes and I'll come back to check on it. I always open the lid away from me because the chicken tends to spit a little bit. So you know the chicken is ready to flip. It was having a fit. You know the chicken is ready to flip when you can see visible grill marks here and it almost is cooked all the way through on that side. So we'll give it a flip. This one's not quite ready. It is a bit thicker. So put it back on that side there. And this first one here, woo, the hot bath. This first one here cooked on this first side for 8 minutes or so. This bigger one, probably another 3 to 5 minutes. I will come back and check on that. Let's have a look-see here. The second one is ready to flip. Now I'm going to check the temperature on this one to see if it's ready to come off the pan there. The smaller breast is just about done. You want your chicken to be an internal temperature of a tauntaun. Just kidding. Internal temperature of 165. You always want to check the thickest part here. But that one should probably be done in the next couple of minutes or so. We're going to check the smaller breast here. Oh, it's looking delicious. Or as my dad says, delishimo. That one is good and ready. I'm going to allow it to rest on this plastic cutting board here. You always want to use plastic with chicken. I'm going to take another lid, cover it, keep all the moisture in there. And move this one to the center here. We'll pick up all those juices from that first breast. And we'll check this one as well. Awesome, this one's done too. Here's what they look like there. And allow these to rest for at least 10 minutes before cutting it up. That'll help lock in the moisture there. I'm gonna turn the heat off of this one. And then we'll be back with the gravy. We're gonna start with the gravy. But first I wanted to show off this super cute Dutch oven I got at an estate sale. It was only 10 bucks, so I couldn't pass it up. Yeah. Just for the sake of this pot here, I'm gonna do the gravy on a low heat. To the pot, you'll add the chicken broth. The bouillon cubes. And the garlic. Sounds cool. Give it a quick little mix here. I'm gonna put the lid back on, and we'll allow this to come to a full boil before we do the next step. Alright, I can hear it's come to a boil. I just checked this a few moments ago and it was boiling. It seems that all of the garlic is pooling right under the heat there, but it's definitely hot enough. So with the cornstarch in the water, we're just going to whisk it together and make a slurry. Whisk until it becomes smooth. I've whisked out all the clumps there. We'll add this to the broth, and this will allow it to thicken and get to that consistency in chicken pot pie that you're used to. It'll take a few moments to thicken up. I'm gonna let this sit. You'll see me in the next shot. I said we want to let this sit, but it's gravy, so we'll have to stir it occasionally, or not occasionally. We'll have to stir this frequently so it doesn't burn. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. Starting to get nice and thick here. It smells absolutely amazing. My dog Artemis heard that sound. She gave me a very odd look. We'll add in all the herbs. We'll stir this to fully combine. We'll reduce the heat a little lower. I didn't have it quite on low, but between low and medium. before I add any of the vegetables or the onions, I want this to simmer for a bit together to get those herbaceous notes in there. It's calmed down a bit, so I'm gonna let this sit for real this time for a couple minutes, and then I'll come back and add the rest. It's starting to bubble again. Let's see how thick it is. Yeah, that's perfect. Next we'll be adding the veggies. Good to the last drop. Gotta get all your veggies in there. We'll also add in the onion. Also, not sure what that was. Beautiful. Give that a stir. I'm also going to allow this to simmer for a couple of minutes before we add the chicken. It's been another couple of minutes. It's bubbling again. And now we're ready for the chicken, which is the last step before assembling the pie. We'll stir that together. Perfect. I'm going to turn off the heat. And then remove this from the heat. Here's what the end result of this should look like. Yummy and delicious. I'm going to allow this to cool for a moment, and I will see you at the assembly line. So I'm going to take some butter and grease our pie plate. Making sure it's fully coated. There we are. We'll take the bottom pie crust here. Kind of mold it to the bottom. Make sure you bring up the edges high. Smooth out any holes at the bottom. You can even do a little butter in here. We'll add the mixture. This little antique pot did so well. I'm very excited to use it for more things. I'm just scraping the edges here, make sure we get all the filling. There's a lot of garlic in there I don't want to miss. Garlic's one of the best parts. I'm going to just smooth it out so it's even. All these herbs together are really making my mouth water. My mouth and my tummy are ready. We'll take the top crust, which I already buttered off camera, just to add a little dimension and flakiness. And you'll pinch it with the bottom crust here. Make sure to get pretty tight seal there. We don't want the pie to explode. There's a little full there, so I was just pushing some of the filling back down. These definitely aren't the prettiest folds, but it gets the job done. Just smoothing out the top there. It's a little bubbled in some spots. Ooh. We'll take our egg wash here and go around the edges. I'm just going back through making sure all those edges are tightly sealed together. The egg will help bind it too. Beautiful. We'll take a knife and we'll make some vents here. I'm going to do my initials. That's what I always used to do with the little frozen ones. That way we know whose pie was whose. And one at the top and one at the bottom here. Oh. I poked through there earlier. And we'll take these little strips of aluminum foil here and just wrap the edges of the crust. That way it doesn't burn and it'll help from overspilling. There she is there. And this will bake in a 425-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes or until the crust is golden brown. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like coming right out of the oven. I just pulled the pie out of the oven. 32 minutes was perfect. Got just the right amount of golden crust there. I'm gonna let this sit for a few minutes before I cut into it. There she is there. So mine doesn't hold its pie form just because I used to love taking the mini frozen ones, breaking in the top shell and mixing it all together. So that's just how I like mine. If you want a thicker filling, you can certainly use more cornstarch if you would like. But let's take a taste. I'm gonna try the chicken by itself. Now some of the crust and filling. This is absolutely delicious. Not to toot my own horn, but that celery salt and the chicken really brings it to another level. I highly recommend the celery salt. I can't stop eating. If you thought this meal was delicious, please give it a like. And if you've made yourself at home, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, bye.